In a quiet corner of Lagos, two boys grew up like brothers, Tayo and Jide. They were more than friends. They were 18, walking to school with torn sandals, chasing dreams under the hot sun, sharing whatever little they had. Their parents were poor, but their bond was rich. Jide's home was harder the most. His mother, gentle and strong, was the only reason that house hadn't crumbled. But his father, lost in alcohol, broken by life. Then came the day that changed everything. Jide's mother died, and with her, the light in Jide's world disappeared. He didn't cry alone. Tayo was right there, holding him, crying with him, as if he'd lost his own mother too. They were only 14, but life was already forcing them to become men. A month later, Jide had to go live with his uncle, far away. The man promised to take care of him, but promise can be poison. Because Jide didn't know, his uncle was a thief, a gang leader, a man whose hands were stained with blood and fear. Tayo stayed behind. He went to school during the day and worked at night, selling water on the streets, washing cars, anything to support his struggling family. But no matter how hard life is, Tayo never gave up. And slowly he rose. 8 years later, at 22, Tayo stood tall in a crisp uniform, a police officer, a protector of the people. One rainy morning, Tayo was posted to Ikorodu town, a place he had never been, or so he thought, because hiding in the shadows of Ikorodu was Jide. But he wasn't the same boy anymore. He was now a man, trained by his uncle, feared by the street, an expert in robbery, silent breaks in, and fast escapes. Two brothers grown apart, one fighting for the law, the other breaking it. Then it happened. A robbery. Live. Tayo jumped into action. He didn't hesitate. He grabbed his weapon and led it into the scene. The streets were dark, gunshots echoed. A family was crying inside the house. Tayo kicked down the door, and then everything stopped. He saw him. The mask fell, and there he was. Jide. Same eyes, same face, but now with a gun in his hand. Time froze, the air felt away. Tayo lowered his weapon. Jide. He whispered it, "It's me, Tayo." And in that moment, two lives collided. And then, Jide shoved him hard. Tayo hit the floor stunned, not from the fall, but from the heartbreak. He couldn't move, couldn't speak, couldn't chase. So Jide escaped again. Days passed, but Tayo couldn't shake the moment. Then one night, a bar, small, smoky, filled with whispers and high-laughed music. Tayo walked in, and there, at the far end, sat Jide, alone, drinking, waiting for something he couldn't name. Their eyes met, this time, no uniform, no guns, just two broken boys in a grown men's bodies. They sat, no handcuffs, no shouting, just silence. Then Jide spoke first. "You should have pulled the trigger." Tayo didn't answer at first, then quietly said, "I wasn't looking at a criminal. I was looking at you." Jide laughed, not with joy, but with the kind of pain that leaves scars. "I didn't ask for this life," he said, but life didn't care. Tayo asked about his uncle. Jide nodded. "That man taught me how to steal, lie, survive, but he never taught me how to stop." Tayo looked him in the eyes and said, "It's not too late." But Jide just shook his head. "It is for me. You made it out, Tayo. I became what I had to." Then he stood, left some money on the table and whispered, "We both know how this ends." And just like that, Jide walked out again, still running, still lost. And Tayo, he just sat there, still wearing the badge, still holding on to a past that was no longer his to save. Tayo couldn't sleep that night. Jide's word echoed in his head. "We both know how this ends." He wanted to believe there was still a way out, a way to save Jide, but deep down he knew some people don't want to be saved. In the dark corner of Ikorodu, Jide was already planning the next move, another robbery, bigger, riskier. His uncle, older, colder now, wanted to hit a government contractor house. Security would be tight, but the payoff, millions. Jide hesitated, but when you have been running your whole life, sometimes stopping feels more dangerous. Meanwhile, Tayo was handed a new case. armed gang suspected to strike this weekend. His commander said, "Your unit lead this operation." Tayo's heart dropped. He already knew who it was. The lines were getting tinier and blurry. How do you arrest someone you once called brother? How do you aim your weapon at a memory? That night, Jide sat on a rooftop, staring at the sky like it had the answers. He pulled out a photo from his pocket, faded, folded it 100 times. Him and Tayo, at age 12, smiling wool. He closed his eyes. Maybe, just maybe, this one will be his last one. And so he began. The plan, the raid, the final crossroad. Jide didn't know Tayo would be there. Tayo didn't know Jide might come back. But one thing was clear. Tayo didn't sleep that night. He stood by the window, watching rain streak down the glass. His badge lay untouched on the table, his gun fully loaded. He asked himself, if I see him again, do I bring him in or do I let him go? This question kept him company through the storm, because tomorrow Jide would be there. Morning came with siren and steel. The police surrounded the target, an old warehouse in Ikorodu. Tayo stood at the front, his heart racing, memories flashing. He knew who they would find inside. The order came. Go, go, go! Gunfire cracked through the wall, shouts, screams, smoke. Tayo moved like a shadow, past broken doors, up cracking stairs. Then the order came. Moving. Gunfire cracked through the walls, shouts, scream, smoke. But Tayo, he wasn't just leading a raid, he was chasing a memory, a brother. With every step through the warehouse, his heart beat louder than the gunfire. He prayed Jide would surrender, but the streets, they don't teach surrender. Inside, Jide crew spotted the police. They are inside. Panic exploded like thunder. They tried to run, but the exits were blocked. So they did the only thing they knew. They started shooting. Bullets flew like lightning. 2 officers were hit, neck and shoulder. Tayo's teammates screamed as he fell. Jide men took cover behind the crate, firing widely. One of them went down, hit clean through the chest. Another crawled bleeding toward the black wall. It was a wall. And in the far corner, Jide ran for the back window. He climbed up, about to jump. Freedom just inches away. But then, he froze, because he felt it. Tayo was at his back, with a gun. He said, "Freeze!" A strong hand grabbing the back of his hoodie. He turned his head slowly. Tayo. Face bruised, heart torn, gun lowered, eyes locked. No words, just the silence of 2 broken boys, one holding the other back from falling forever. Tayo raised his weapon. Jide didn't move. "You finally caught me," Jide said. "Took you long enough?" Tayo didn't speak, didn't move. Then Jide dropped the gun. It hit the floor. So did the weight on both their hearts. "If anyone was gonna end this," Jide whispered, "it would rather be you." Tayo stepped forward. No cuffs, no shouting. Just a brother catching the other before he fell too far. It's over. The police officer already surrounded Jide boys. Pushed Jide boys to the van. Few of them dead, some of them are bleeding. Some of the police officers too were shot, but luckily no one was dead. Week passed, and now, behind a glass window in a quiet prison, they sit again. Jide, calmer, older. Tayo still wearing the badge, but now with peace in his eye. They don't say much, they don't need to.